Hey Madeline, welcome to the call. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah, so why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself to everybody and let us know like who you are, what type of coaching you do.
Sure. So, my name is Madeline, and I'm an ICF certified somatic coach, and I help visionary women connect with their innate wisdom and their feminine power.
Amazing. Cool. So just like high level, quick summary of the results. You just closed your first 3K client. So congrats on signing that client. That's amazing. How does that feel?
Um, a little unreal, um, but really empowering. I think it made it real, like if that
Mhm.
makes sense. It's like wow, someone is like excited to work with me and they trust me to compensate me to do this work and hold this container for them. So
Mm.
it's yeah, I like when when it went through, I felt alive. I felt like, wow, okay, this is real now.
Yeah, it really makes it a reality. Like once you start getting the clients you want and making some real money with your coaching, you're like, wow, this is it. So
Yeah.
get that. Cool. So we've had a bit of a history together. So why don't you tell everyone like how did you hear about me? How did we first connect? It's a good story.
Yeah. So when I left the corporate world, a year and a half ago, I knew that I needed to take on some freelancing work just to stay afloat while I figure out what I want to do with my coaching business. So I put my profile on Upwork that I was just looking for some side gig stuff and came across that you were looking for someone to support you in building your online coaching course, like course for coaches. And I was like, that's like a perfect match. Like it's kind of supporting him and building out this product. But it's like in my realm of things that interest me. Like I am a coach myself, and I just thought was a good match there. So initially that's how we met. It was you hired me on as a freelancer just to do some work with you there. And we worked together for several months and then have since stayed in touch.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a funny story because I was actually talking about this on my live earlier today where like I had done like a course launch and I kind of had this like hybrid model for a while where I was working with coaches and also doing done for you marketing. And I wanted to launch this course and enroll a bunch of people. And I don't think that this course is going to see the light of day, unfortunately. It was a good lesson for me. But yeah, it was super cool to have you on board. And I remember like interviewing all those different people on Upwork and then you came along and I'm like, who is this? Like, this is not a typical like virtual assistant. I was like, this person has got something special. So yeah, I'm glad I hired you and it was so cool that we got that experience working together. So yeah, that's our backstory. And then ultimately when I launched this coaching business, I invited you to come along and work with me in a capacity of mentorship. And so yeah, what made you say yes? Why did you choose to work with me?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty easy decision because I already knew you. Like I knew the kind of person you were. I'd worked with you for months. Um, and I think that that really is the best way to approach like who to work with, especially in such a critical and vulnerable like place to be in of like, hey, I'm building my business for the first time ever and I have a
Mm.
lot to figure out. That trust was already there with you. I felt like you were someone that I could really trust. We already built a relationship, you and I. So it was pretty easy when I was like, oh, I know Nathan knows how to do this. I know the kind of person he is, and I know the kind of coach he'll be for me. Um, One thing in particular that I always admired about you was when we were working together on the course, like you were always open to my feedback.
Mm.
You were like, hey, I want your thoughts. And even if it was a point, something that we disagreed on or like a new perspective, you were always so open to it. And that I think is a very unique and special skill set, like a personal attribute that I would want in my coach. So just one of the many reasons why I think it just the timing was there. You're like, hey, I'm launching this coaching program. I'm like, well, great. Like I have free time now on my calendar because I just had ended one of my freelancing gigs when you reach out and I was like, well, yeah, I need a coach to help me do this. So just like maybe a cosmic alignment too.
Divine timing, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So, what were some of the biggest obstacles and struggles you had when we first started working together and even beforehand?
Yeah. Um, I mean, there was a lot, but I think one of the biggest ones was I had this very like scattered approach at my messaging, just like in general, how I speak about like who I help, even who I am. Like there were so many different variations of titles that I wore. Like I am a mindset coach, or I'm a holistic coach, I'm a leadership coach. And I felt very indecisive in a lot of aspects in building my business that because of that indecisiveness and constant revision, um, whether it was like revising copy on my website or changing the bio in my Instagram, like I was just constantly trying new things and not getting anywhere with any of those efforts, like because of that. And I kind of just assumed that I really understood the place that I was supposed to be coaching in. I understood the person that I was helping and, what exactly they needed help with, what they wanted, what they desired. I had all these assumptions like, oh, well, they want to be happier and more fulfilled, or, using language that like didn't really resonate with the lot.
Hmm.
And so that was like a huge issue for me is that I was, putting all of this like material out and like messaging saying, I help you with this and I help you with that, just for it not to land with those people.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it sounds like you're kind of like on square one, just kind of running in circles. Like, what's my messaging? Who do I want to serve? How do I want to position myself in the market? And yeah, so that's huge to gain clarity on all of those things, which transitions us nicely to the next question, which is, biggest impact and results that working with me had on your business. I mean, you just closed a 3K client, so congrats on that. And then, yeah, apart from that, what else would you like to share?
Yeah, so many milestones that we've hit together, uh, leading into kind of the problem that I started with was not having a lot of like clarity in who I serve, what I do, how I even market to those people. So, instantly you're like, well, you got to do some market research. Like, we need to go out, we need to talk to the people, hear from the people.
Yeah, crazy, right? Crazy
I'm
idea.
like, whoa, really? Like, that's okay. So I took that task very seriously. And I conducted over the course of a month 50 like research user interviews, um, which was a game changer for me. Like that finally made it clear after hearing like so many people's stories, um, what is the problem that needs to be solved? Like, what are the challenges that they're facing? And then how do they communicate about them? Like, what is the language that they're using here? Because they were not using the term somatic embodiment or inner alignment. They're like, what the hell does that even mean?
Yeah.
So that was just a huge aha moment in my like journey. And what was really cool about that was on these calls with these people, because I pretty much casted a huge wide net. I was just like, people who have X, like, I want to talk to you. And in those conversations, it was made so crystal clear the types of people that I really lit up with.
Hmm.
That, like, there was just you could feel it on the call. There was just like
Yes.
a synergy happening, that there was this beautiful, like, energetic exchange and just connection that, I enjoyed all of the conversations, but some really stood out to me more than others. And I remember you saying, you're like, well, that's because those are the people you're meant to coach.
Hmm.
Like, that's my people. They're my
Yes.
person. Yeah, game changer it was. Because I think that was like what was almost the trigger of like all of these other now, pieces that have been falling into place, like working on the niche worksheet and crafting my offer, getting new language up on my website, like getting my niche statement dialed in. It's just without having done the market research, like none of that clarity would have come.
Mm. Yeah, and that's so huge. And I see a lot of coaches miss that, especially when I first started working with them, which is like they're making content and it's not getting enough response. It's not magnetic enough to attract the type of person they want to work with. And it's because deep down they're not clear on who that person really is. And so for you to have done all that market research is like a massive win. A lot of people avoid that or they don't see the importance of it and they just kind of stay stuck running in circles on square one, which is like, hey, I'm putting out all this content and like, oh, I'm not getting enough response. I'm not getting discovery calls. People aren't DMing me. Like, I just got to keep making more content, I guess. But really, it's that the messaging piece is missing and the clarity on the niche. I mean, even when I launched my business, I thought I was clear on my niche, and my coach was like, you have like three niches, dude. Like, you got to figure out who you're really talking to because these are
Yeah.
three way different people. And
Yeah.
there is always that little bit of scarcity mentality of like, oh, but if I like pick one type of person, then I like won't get enough clients, you know? But then you find when you do it, that's actually where like the magic and the magnetism is, and you start to like attract those exact types of people
Yeah.
because you're like calling it in. Like you've got a whole menu of the universe that you can order from in terms of who I want to work with. So for you, it's like, yeah, I'll take the visionary women, please. And then
Yeah.
they start to show up. So that's how it works.
I love that you say it that way because I mean, that was something that I struggled with. I just thought, oh, well, what if I get too narrow and I miss out on opportunities to like work with other people? And I had to change that perspective. I had to like let go of that like belief that like in order to be successful and to like have a, you know, wait list for clients, right? That's like my dream one day,
Hmm.
that it can be done in a more strategic way. It can actually come easier and it can like be a full like state of flow and ease if you do just like call out to that one specific type or that one person that you're here to serve. And then for me, who overthinks things a lot and who constantly like, oh, did I make the right decision there? Like one thing that you said to me really stuck out, which was like, well, try this group of people, try it out, coach with them for a while, and then if you want to change your mind, you can. Like
Hmm.
it's not the end of the world to say like, okay, now I want to switch and I want to, specifically work with people who want to do intuitive and energy type work, right? Like
Mm.
it's that trial and error that I think as a new coach, we just have to be willing to like take action and just try something because then, without trying, how are we going to know if it was for us? Like, I feel like this is my niche number one in life. Like,
Mm.
perhaps I'll have another one. Perhaps it will evolve over time, and that's okay. Just take action. Like, I'm literally telling, like, if I could go back and tell, like, year ago, Madeline, I would just say, ah, just take action. Just do it. Just do something. Just get clear and pick one thing and then we can always change it.
Totally. And you said something there that I want to highlight that was very subtle, but I think everyone can benefit from hearing this. And that is that you had to like let go of your old thoughts and belief structures. And I think that's a quality that the most successful coaches have because it takes that degree of humility to say, like, maybe I'm not doing something right here. And like, that's why I'm not making the money I want, or that's why I'm not attracting the clients I want. So like how can I kind of loosen my mental frame around how I think things need to be done to adopt a new thought process that's going to get me a better result that I feel more aligned with ultimately. So kudos to you for that. That's a rare trait.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy because it's nothing that I've done before. Like, you go to school to be a coach, but you don't think that you also need to wear the hat of like a marketer and a CEO and like, a leader, a business owner. And so in order to embody like this new version of me, you said it, like you have to rewire, you have to shed some old patterns, um, and adopt new beliefs that are going to support you becoming that person.
Totally. Absolutely. So, yeah, last question here is what advice would you give anyone who's interested in working with me or maybe they're on the fence? Like, what would you tell them?
Yeah. One, I would celebrate them for like being in the market to want to work with a business coach. I think that that's one of the best investments that you can give yourself if you're someone like me who is really passionate about the work that you're here to do. You're being called to like create change in the world. Maybe you just got like your certification from your coach training program or whatever you decided to, get certified in. One, it's really hard to do these things alone. I don't think that we're meant to do them alone. So just the fact that they're here and that they're considering to work with you, brave step, super brave. Love it. It's such a great investment. Um, I always say too, if you're a coach, you should be coached too. Like if you are
Mm,
selling yourself as like, hey, hire me as a coach, like you should also be investing in having your own coach. And working with Nathan in particular, it's so important to find a coach that supports you and kind of your energy, right? Like, um, I really don't think it matters about like a coach's credentials or like, that they went, they have a master's at MIT or whatever the heck it is. Like that stuff kind of like goes out the window because what matters is that their energy is a fit for your energy. And my advice would be get to know Nathan's energy. Like
mm.
get to know him, like have a call because that's the only way that you're going to know if he is the coach for you is to open yourself up and to experience um you know what his heart is, like that, like authenticity, just something so special about being in the business of coaching and like being a coach is that we are all our own unique product.
Mm.
Like as a coach, we are the product. We are the personal brand. And there's not going to be another coach in the whole entire world that is like you, that is like Nathan. Like we
Mhm.
have our unique little makeup and energy that we offer our clients. So just the best way to know if it's the right fit, if you're going to have a strong coaching partnership with someone, go to their free trainings, hop on a call, get to know them, like get to know who they are at their core, because that's how you know who they're going to be as your coach.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great advice. And you hit on something important there, which is like the investment mentality. And I just happened to do like a money masterclass training today. So this is actually something I talked about quite a bit, which is, if you're like in your case, you were working a corporate job that you wanted to transition out of and you wanted to make coaching your full-time business. So I was reading in this book by my favorite author today. It was a good reminder. He has a framework called the 2x, 3x mindset, which is if you want to double your income and impact, then you need to triple your investment in your personal mastery and professional life.
Mm,
So that is his frame, and he's a coach to like billionaires, CEOs, members of royalty, people like that. So 2x your income and impact, triple your investment in yourself. That's the bottom line.
makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, thanks for jumping on with me, Madeline. Really excited to be on this journey with you and looking forward to seeing how you grow throughout the rest of our time together.
Yes, thank you so much, Nathan.
Ciao, ciao.